friends, and welcome to our channel Cloud Saga. In this tutorial, we will be discussing about one of the major services which AWS is providing, that is the Elastic File System. We call it as a EFS. So basically, EFS is a network file sharing model which is being provided on the AWS storage options. So if we want to have a file system or a storage space which needs to be shared between two different servers or n number of servers, then we should be using that EFS. So in this video, we will be discussing about how to create the EFS, what all configurations will be there, and then we'll be mounting it the EFS file system which we create to our servers, and we'll see the all the other details about it related to EFS. So let's jump on to the console. So the EFS service which will be listed up will be coming under the storage section. So we click on the EFS file system, and then this console will be created up. Here we will put the create file system and we'll click on the customize option. So with the new console in 2021, the console has been changed and a lot of new options have been provided up for creating a EFS. But since we will be doing a customization and other things, so we will be clicking on the customize. Then this console will be opening up. So in this, what we will do is we will give it a name. We'll name it as my test EFS. Now AWS has provided that automatically these will be backed up. The EFS which will be creating and all the files which will be there, they will be backed up, and there is an additional pricing which is being applicable for that. So if the requirement for you is to automatically back up these files on the EFS, then you can checkbox this option. Otherwise, we'll be clicking it, we'll disable it. The next option which is EFS is providing is the lifecycle management. So lifecycle management is basically to save your money, or the if that particular file is not being accessed for 30 days or for 60 days, they will be moving it to a infrequent access storage class. So previously S3 was only having the storage classes available, but now with the EFS, AWS has provided the different storage classes which they have called it as a EFS infrequent storage class. So the files which are not being accessed for, let's say, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, they will be backed up to that different storage class, so that the costing of your EFS will be reduced. So there are multiple options, like if we want 7 days, 14 days, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and 30 days. So for this demo, we'll be clicking on none. Then it's providing us the options whether the requirement is to have a general purpose SSD or a high input output disk for that file system. So these options will be depending on our user requirements. So we will be selecting it as general purpose in bursting mode as a throughput. Then at the rest, whether your data should be encrypted or not. That is a security feature which is being provided on AWS, that whatever data which is residing on that EFS will be encrypted, because sometimes it will be happening that you are giving the EFS to a server which is being which is accessible over internet. Suppose there is a web server where you have to mount the file systems. Then you need to have some encryption enabled so that your data security is there. So that is being provided. So either you can use the AWS managed keys, or you can create your own custom keys also. So here you have to provide the custom keys which you will be creating, or otherwise automatically it will be taking up the default one. Okay. So the next thing is we click on the next part will be the network access. So now our servers will be hosted in different availability zones for the high availability of the servers. So we will be creating this EFS under our VPC where the servers are being hosted, and we will be creating it on different availability zones. So each availability zones will be equivalent to a single subnet. So subnet will be mapped to a single availability zone. They are not cross utilized between the availability zone. So one subnet is one availability zone. So by default, it's selecting the three regions. So I will be selecting only two, US2B and 2C for this demo. And this is the subnet which is being hosted in this availability zone. These are the default subnets which is being provided by AWS. So in case if you have your custom VPC, you can select the public subnets or the private subnets based on the requirements. Sometimes it's happened that we only want our EFS to be mounted on the private subnets. Then we will be selecting the private subnets here. The third option, which is the IP address. So you can assign any of the IPs automatically or manually also. So suppose if you are having private subnets for you and you want your particular IPs to be mapped with this EFS, there is some CI configurations being done at your backend and your network team has provided you the IPs which should be there for the EFS, then you can manually provide these IPs in this section, or automatically these IPs will be provided by AWS based on the subnets. If it's a public subnet, then the public subnets IPs will be applicable, and if it's a private, then the private subnets will be applicable. The next one is the security group. So security group is basically allowing the inbound traffic to this EFS where all the IPs are being listed up. So in this security group, currently we have to define the NFS ports to be enabled so that it can be accessed through this security group. So for any of the security reasons, if you want to restrict the access to this EFS, then security groups will be the key point which needs to be altered or configured as per our requirements. So let me show you. So this is the security group which I am using, the default one. So in this, what we need to do is under the inbound rules, we will edit the inbound rules and we'll add a one new. Since EFS works on the NFS protocol, so we need to select the NFS which works on 2049. So let me type the NFS. So this is the NFS. The port range is 2049 and I will allow it to be world, public world. So this way, all the EFS will allow the NFS protocol to access the data which is having the IP from this range. So this is the global IP for the internet access. So everything will be allowed for our demo purpose. But in case if you want to restrict to some particular servers or to some particular security groups, then you can define those things. So here you can select the security groups or you can define the IPs. That depends on your user requirements. So we'll click on the save rules. We'll go again to this thing. Next is the new feature which has been provided by AWS in this 2021 is the file system policies. We can restrict by providing a policy, like if you want only the read access to the all the servers, or we want some encryption, or all these parameters can be provided up. So enforce in transit encryption, whether when there is a data which is coming into this server, then they will be using the SSL protocol. If that is not a secure transport, then the EFS will not allow to upload that data onto your file system. So these are the different policies which have been provided, and we can add our own custom policies also. So we have to create it over here and we can provide it to our EFS so that the file system policies will be applicable, based on which the access to the objects or the data will be available. So for this demo, we will not be selecting any of these things. We'll be clicking on the next and we'll review and we'll click on create. So now the EFS have been created up. So this is the thing. We have not provided any file system policy. and these are the access points. If we have any access points defined, these will be listed here. And the networking part, since we have created it for two availability zones, so it's currently creating those file systems. So right now the status is creating. So once it's being created, we will be getting it as available as a mount point target state. And here the IPs have been assigned, and these IPs have been mapped to a ENI network interface, elastic network interface, and based on that interface a particular IP has been assigned. So I will pause the video once and will wait for these mount points to be available. So now our EFS is in the available state. Now we will be connecting it to our servers and will be mounting up. So what I have done is I have created two servers. One is being hosted in 2C region and other one is in 2B. So we will be uploading our, we'll be mounting these file system and will be seeing up how the files will be looking up. So I have logged into my servers which we have created, the Linux servers. Now we will be mounting this EFS into our servers. So first, for that, we first need to check whether the NFS client has been installed on our servers or not. So for that, we will install the NFS util. And since it's saying that it's already being installed and on the latest version, so we will be checking this on the other servers also. So let's see if it's being there. So it's also there in the other server. So next, what we need to do is we need to mount that file system. So this is the command which we need to execute. So first we have to create the EFS folder. So right now we will see that only the root file system is available, no other mount points is being there. So what we will do is we will go to the root directory and we'll create a directory called as EFS, and we'll do the same thing, EFS. And now we have this command where we need to provide the target IP. So if we are doing it on a US2B instance, then we need to create have this IP. Or else what you can do is you can take the DNS name, which is being there for this file system, or the IPs, depending on your use case. Like for this, we will be using the IP for our demo purpose. So we'll see this. We'll put this as here, and then we'll run on one of the servers. Pasting the command which we have there. So this is the command, and we'll click on this. So it's now mounted up. So we can see it, the EFS is there, and we will do the same thing for the other server. And here we need to change the IP. So we'll grab the IP from this and we'll put it this IP into this. If the IP is not provided properly, then you will be getting an access denied, since you will be allowing to from the particular subnet only. So since our server is hosted in different subnet, we will not be able to use the IP which is of different subnet. So now we have the EFS. What we will do is we will create one file, test.txt, and we'll add, this is my first file. We'll save it. Uh, we'll save it. We'll do a cat, and now I'm able to see it. So let's see on the other server if we are able to see that content. So we are able to do that, and the file is being shared between both these servers. So whenever we have a requirement where we need a file system to be shared between n number of servers, then we should be using the EFS as a service. It should not be like that. We should be using the S3. S3 is not at all a file system. It's a storage place where the object-based storage is being there. But for servers to have a shared mount point, then EFS should be used for those cases. Now, after that, we can update our FS tab so that whenever there is a reboot on the servers, then the mount point will be automatically getting mounted at a particular location. So we don't need to have it manually mounted. It will be automatically, the server will get the mount point available to its system. Thanks for watching this video. Hope you have liked it, and we will be coming up with more videos related to the other services which AWS is providing. So please do subscribe to our channel and share this video with your friends and family so that everyone can start cultivating the or understanding the cloud concepts. Thanks all.